Hi, welcome. Welcome to Awaken with Rayania. Today, I have a very special guest, Shanda Ceretti. She is a transformational coach. Hi, Shanda.
Hi, Rayania.
So glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I've had a really beautiful conversation with Shanda because I know you are very passionate in advocating trauma, healing the trauma for people. How about you start with introducing yourself to the audience and what you do and what brought you until now?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Shanda Ceretti, and I'm a transformational coach, certified transformational coach, and I work with people who are really feeling stuck in their past, right? Sometimes people come to me and they've never started their healing journey. Sometimes they've been on the journey for a long time and they just can't get past a certain point. So I really help them discover and start to explore the habits, the beliefs, and identity around the trauma and help them move past that. So, this is really near and dear to my heart because I come from my own trauma story as well, dating back to when I was very, very little. And so, life for me was very challenging growing up, but I was one of those people who kind of flew under the radar, meaning, I still showed up. I got to disguise it very well. I had good grades. I went to school. I did all the things. But what was going on under the surface and behind the scenes was a whole nother story. So I struggled a lot. And because of that, it led me to a self-sabotaging, very destructive, teenage years into my 20s. And so now, where my life is, this is a very, very snippet into my life, but where I am now, I am over 8 years sober and just living a wonderful, grateful, powerful life. And so I get to show up in a way that empowers other people to create the same changes for them. Because when you're in your trauma story, you're experiencing that from day to day, it's really challenging to see the possibility and the opportunity that's in front of you. So I just like to be able to stand and as an example for other people what's possible for them. So that's kind of a real quick glimpse into my life and what I do and how I serve people.
Yeah, this is also a topic that's dear to my heart because um, I think it is true that very often we are not aware of what patterns we are experiencing. Like we just feel like, okay, how come I'm not feeling fulfilled, even though I may have a job that pays well, has good title. I may be in a relationship that people think, oh, you two look good, you look fine, but somehow people are still feeling there's something wrong or something is missing, or they feel like they need to aspire for more. But at the same time, I also feel like, oh, but I should be grateful for what I have. So it's I don't know how does that relate to you when you are working with your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I hear that all the time, right? People feeling like something's missing, they're not fulfilled. They should be this, they should be this, they should have this. And for me, and my experience with both myself and clients, is that what's missing is a connection to self, right?
Mm,
So we're disconnected from ourself. And until we reconnect to ourself, to our true being, to our genuine, authentic being, we aren't going to be able to feel fulfilled. We're not going to be able to feel the wholeness of the experience here because when there's a disconnect, you're denying, you're resisting, you've created
mm,
a buffer. So you're not allowing certain things to penetrate and come all the way in, right? We're not in accepting and receiving.
mm.
We're in almost like this defense mode. So I feel like the connection is a huge piece, which is again something that I work with my clients as well, which is why this is such a beautiful conversation to have with you, because transformation happens on three levels, which I mentioned earlier, but it's habits and then belief and then identity. And so it's the identity piece that is the deepest level of transformation and where true lasting transformation happens. So identity is how we view ourselves and how we view others and the world around us. So essentially, what is the story that we believe about ourselves that allows us to show up in the way that we're showing up in the world, right? So it's so interesting because it's something that is deep. It's like to the core, but it's also changeable. Like we get to
Mhm.
shift that. We get to create whatever story we want to create for ourselves. So, if somebody's living in this story, this perpetual story of I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, whatever it is, we get to shift that and change that. And so it's such beautiful work to be able to support people in this transformation.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely relate to that as well. Like, it's very much when we are experiencing certain, let's say if we create certain life experiences, and it's very much based on the identity we associate ourselves with, right? So if I believe I am a good daughter, then I'm a good partner, then there are certain decisions I will make in order to align to this identity. And I realized what come so when I used to work for a technology company, I identify myself as a good title and businesswoman. And when I was going through the transition from corporate job to a therapist and coach, I actually was struggling because I was really trying to hold on to that beautiful title and that job and that when people how people can well, like they would get to know me if I say I am so and so sales director or sales manager, versus when I say I don't really know who I am yet. I'm just working to be a therapist, and that has created a dramatic suffering because that there's nothing. Like, I don't know how I can identify myself to feel I am worthy of respect,
Right.
or to
Yeah.
make people believe that I am actually a good person, or I am a really nice person indeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, how we identify is so important because, for me, for example, one of the stories that I carried around for such a long time without even realizing it until I started doing this work was that I was identifying as a single mom, right?
mm,
That was the card that I would play. And so it would show up, right? So I would create these opportunities, whether they're good or bad or positive or negative or what have you. I would create opportunities that would only further, exacerbate the fact that I'm a single mom. Life is hard.
yeah,
There's not enough. I can't pay the bills, or I don't have enough time, or I can't do this, right? So all of those stories. So long as I identify as a single mom and life is hard because of that, you're going to find evidence everywhere around you to back up that story, which
mm,
is why it is so important to choose a story that is going to empower you, right? Because we're always winning the game we're playing. So that being said, I want to say it again. We're always winning the game that we're playing. So the game that I was playing was poor me, I'm a single mom, life is hard. And I was knocking that thing out of the park. I was rocking it. Life
mm,
was hard. I
yeah,
didn't have money and I didn't have time. And so being able to shift that has been huge, right? Again, how I've shifted in so many ways, not just that one way, but so many ways how I identify with, like, in the world, right? My place in the world. Yeah.
yeah. I think most people are not very aware of how we are actually creating our experiences and day-to-day life based on what we believe in. Like, it's our filter. Like, if I believe in life is hard, and it's gonna, I'm gonna attract, based on the frequency of my thought, I'm gonna create so many experiences that confirm, see, I'm right.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people are, based on the past experiences, from childhood, that money is hard to earn. I have to work myself really, to the point of exhaustion in order to deserve the money I earn. And so I, spoke with a lot of people, and then they all just, it almost feel like they are becoming the victim of the story that we have created. But I think, having said that, I also wanted to give the power to these words, that it's not as a judgment, right? We don't know better until, we don't do better until we know better. So it's just something we thought we should be doing, that we are very easily have our thoughts stuck in the past. And that's
Right.
what you say. You also help a lot of people who are stuck in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, I mean, for me, what comes up right now, just talking about this, which I love, this is such a beautiful conversation. So I just appreciate you holding the space here and inviting me to join you. So what I like to, help people or support people in understanding is that if you think of let's take like a device, like let's take a phone or a computer or a TV or anything. So these devices always need reprogramming and updating, right? So we're constantly updating our laptop, our computer, our phone, our iPad, whatever we have, our tablets, our GPS, like whatever it is, we're always updating these systems, but we never update our own system. And this is huge because essentially what happens is we create our system, our manual, so to speak, between the ages of 0 and 7, typically, right? These are the most pivotal moments of our lives where we're actually learning how to interact with people and our parents and what certain systems look like. And this is where we're learning everything. So our manual is created between the ages of 0 and 7. We then take this manual all the way through our life. So if you can think of it that way, it's like we're still reacting to things as that 2-year-old, 7-year-old, 5-year-old, right? We're still showing up sometimes as these children, which is why inner child work is so huge. And so I think it's really important to understand that it's not right or wrong. Like you said, we don't know until we know, right? And so we get to start to create those shifts. So my manual didn't serve me any longer. It didn't work. It was outdated, rather, right? I outgrew my manual. And so when I realized, holy crap, my life is really not working for me right now. What the heck is going on? I got to kind of look at that. Like, where are the adjustments, the shifts, where are the opportunities for my upgrades? Right. So you get to take your manual and realize, first of all, appreciate that it served you so well for so many years, right? So again, it's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It did serve its purpose, and it did a great job at keeping you safe, at keeping you feeling loved, at keeping you belonging to the group, to the family, to whatever it is. But it comes a time when it's no longer serving us, and it's actually doing the opposite, and it's hindering us, keeping us small, keeping us scared, keeping us stuck, right? And so when you start to realize, which is why it's super important to look at your life, where do you feel stuck, right? Where do you feel scared? Where do you feel anxious? And when you start to peel back those layers and explore around in there, you're going to start to find your manual, right? You're going to start to find the pieces to your manual where you can upgrade and update those older systems.
That's beautiful. Yeah, actually, what comes to me is that um, I often say that through the journey of the soul evolution, so that's bringing another element to this human journey, is that we all chose to be born into a family that's, let's say, challenging, because the whole point of this human experience is really to work out our develop our unique gifts and talents, I would say. And usually it's through the very difficult childhood that we get to develop certain skills that that For example, I remember, well, the story of Tony Robbins that came to mind because her mom was very emotional dependent, was very, you know, so Tony Robbins had to become so skillful in detecting and sussing out her mother's emotions and her needs. And that's what I know many of us actually do, like because our parents and child takers temperament, or sometimes it's the drinking problem, sometimes it's just constant argument in the family. And I know like we all get to develop a very sensitive navigation to see, okay, who, like mom is not well, so what can I do to make her feel better, to make her feel happy? And in the child's mind, just like I just wanted to be loved. I just want, when mom is happy, then I feel like I'm loved. So I know many people develop this special skill of, you know, like really able to take care of the people in the surroundings, and very good at making people feel good, feel taken, feel seen, and emotionally need met. But I think the whole point is that once we are able to develop like this, you know, use these skills, and then we get to grow up, and then we make friends and people like us, for example. But then there comes a point that belief and that energy do not serve us anymore. And that's what you say, you know, when this comes a point of time that we just need to update. We need to update our belief. We need to update how we interact with our surrounding and our life. And the sign that shows up is the warning sign, is that we feel stuck, we feel like unfulfilled or discontent or somehow just disappointed, or yeah.
Absolutely. You know, in the work that I do, we call them devotional contracts, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these are devotional contracts that we create as children with our parents who or whoever our guardians are, right? And so essentially, how these devotional contracts are even created or written is by us finding our place in the
Yes,
family system. So
absolutely.
are we the child who's constantly catering to mom because mom is an alcoholic or she has rage issues or whatever it is, or is it, you know, am I the child who's constantly hiding because fear of being abused, right? So these are those devotional contracts that get imprinted on us, and then we again take them through. And so, you know, it's interesting what you were saying about like on another plane or whatever, coming into the human experience. We choose the families, we choose the, you know, our situations for because of the lessons we learn from that. And it's interesting because I actually created something the other day around, you know, like, and this, by the way, doesn't detract from any like parent figure, guardian figure, or anything like that, but it was just an idea that I had. And it was like, what if our true mother and father is Mother Earth and Father Sky, right?
Yeah.
That's our true mother and father, and they're always supporting us. They're always going to be there, right? So just knowing that that eternal love, support, and
Mm-hmm.
grounding is always available.
Mm-hmm.
It's like our parents, our guides. I call them like our guides in our human experience. Um, Play a really special role, and like you said, they're there to help you learn the lessons, learn the yeah, the lessons that you get to take forward in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and then the legacy that gets passed on, whether it's good, bad, happy, you know, sad, positive, negative, whatever it is. And so we get to go through life and leave these marks. So it's like, what mark do you want to leave on this world? It's like, what is this? If you got to stamp it with something, what would be the stamp that you would leave for everybody to see and experience? Right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
know you do energy work as well. And so everything is energy. So what we bring into every moment, our energy, happy, sad, whatever it is, it doesn't just stay with us, right? We're not in a container. It affects everything and everyone around us. So if you think of like a drop of water and then that ripple effect. So if
Mm.
your drop of water is fear, whoop, you're dropping that, and then fear is going to ripple out around you and just keep going and going and going. If you drop joy, whoop, you drop some joy, and then that's going to ripple out. So I think it's really important to become super aware of how we're showing up in the world, which is through our contracts, right? Through
Mhm.
our devotional contracts and beliefs.
Mhm.
Realize where we're at now so that we can envision where we want to go, because we don't have to stay here, right?
Mm.
Where it's not like we're not chained to the specific life we're living right now. It's open to, it's endless. There's limitless possibility. So
Yeah.
it's like there's a card that I read once, like an oracle card, and it said, life is a canvas, and like you get to create whatever you want on that canvas. And again, it's like what's done is done, okay, but every day, every moment is a new moment for a new
Mm.
creation. Okay, you had a bad day, you had a bad moment, it's okay, we're human, right? That's how this life works.
Yeah.
Shift, new moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's beautiful. That's definitely beautiful. Yeah, I'm I'm very, I love what you just brought through. It is, well, actually, I think every moment is a new moment. Even just, well, no, today is a bad day, but at this moment, at this minute, I decided, okay, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm just gonna clear all the emotion. I'm just acknowledge, not to reject, but I'm just gonna acknowledge, okay, my day has not been going well, but I decided I want to feel differently. And that is in our power. That's how powerful we are. We can actually shift that energy within very short time. But of course, then there are different techniques that, the breathing techniques, meditation, breath work, and even just jumping up and down. You could shift our physiology, shift our brain chemicals.
Yeah.
So it is, I think I really love as many people as possible to realize how powerful we actually are in creating our day-to-day life. And actually, when we think about what legacy we are going to leave behind. And the other day I had a talk, it was just, in a group, and it was just really, I really had that deep realization that, darn, I have lived probably more than half of my life now. So what am I going to create in the remaining less than half of my life? Do I want to carry on the same story, or what am I going to create? And I, from my experience, is that a lot of us, when we are working, trying to get the payroll every month, months from months, in corporate job or whatever work we have, it's just so easy that our mind just like, become very narrowed in front of what we are struggling. And I think that's why, or that's when, modalities like coaching, transformational coaching, trauma work, all kinds of healing that comes into place for us to really take our mind, or take our, like, open our eyes
Mm.
to what else is available to us in order for us to live live a life that we chose to come here to live.
Mm.
Is each, so like 8 point, I don't really know how much population we have right now. I know it's over 8 billion lives.
Mm-hmm.
We are all here to be a very unique individual that creates and that sends out that specific vibration to the whole world. Like
Yeah.
you say, if we create, we all have our special song from the heart, or melody, like, we don't have to be specific like artist or musician, but we all have specific rhythm that we wanted to bring through to this lifetime. And it's really up to us to focus more on what we want to create and just
Mm. Yeah.
allow our life to unfold.
Yeah.
Mm.
What comes up for me around that is that, we get to listen. We first have to listen to our own rhythm, right? So we can hear it. and then we get to, amplify it and send it out into the world. And again, coming back to that disconnect, we're so disconnected from everything and everyone and all the distractions that we don't even know what our song is. It's like, oh, is that my song? Maybe that's my song. Oh, maybe this is my song, right? But it's our song is within us. And you were talking about being so almost like blinded by like the negative things that happen in our life, where you were like picturing like focusing downward, and it made me remember a moment of when I was starting to learn how to drive. Okay, I remember I was on the highway and I was coming to not a sharp turn because we're on the highway, but to a bend on the highway, and I was looking like in the front of the vehicle, just at the front of the vehicle, right? So just at the road that was right there. And I remember, I think I was with my dad, and he was noticing how like my steering wasn't like smooth, right? It was really jerky because I was watching right in front of me. And he said, why don't you try looking farther ahead so you
Yeah.
can see what's coming, so you can steer accordingly to what's ahead, not what's right in front of you. And so it gave me this vision of like, this is what this work allows us to do. It allows
Mm,
us to look up, to
mm,
see into the future, not
yeah.
just focused on what's happening right now, right?
Yeah.
Because we are always creating. We are creating right now.
Mm,
You and I are creating. The people who are listening are creating. So whatever your life looks like, you are absolutely the creator of that. It's always a choice. Am I choosing to stay where I'm at, or am I going to choose to create something different, something new, something better, whatever it is that you want to choose there, whatever word. So knowing that you are 100% responsible for how your life has turned out is really important. And that's not easy for everybody to hear. I remember the first time I heard that, it didn't land well. And I was like, what do you mean I'm responsible for everything that's ever happened? And it's like, you are, because there's always a choice to choose something different. I'm
yeah.
choosing to stay in resentment. I'm choosing to stay in anger. I'm choosing to stay in my pain. But I can choose to be grateful for what I do have. I can choose to be grateful for the fact that I'm alive, right? And I'm breathing this beautiful air, and I get to walk outside in a few minutes and just be outdoors, right?
Mm,
Like I can be grateful for having my son. Like there's so many things that we can just be thankful for.
mm,
And yeah, so I mean, like there's, I think it's Shanda Sumter says, and I'm going to bring her up, of course, we're either living or we're
yeah.
dying. We're either growing
Yeah.
or we're dying.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, you've already lived like half of your life or more. What are you choosing to do with the remainder? Right. And it's not like to come from a place of like fear of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. We're all going to die at some point. But what do you want to create with your life? What do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to say about you at your funeral? Or there's a really great one, like on your epitaph, like on your headstone. What do you want that to say?
Yeah.
That should be your vision for your life and what drives you forward.
Yeah, definitely beautifully said. Yeah, definitely. I think that's what coming back to um like transformational coaching or a lot of healing therapy actually are here to open up that windows for us to experience. Because I remember when I was listening to you say, we all have a choice moment to moment. This moment I can choose to feel agitated, or I choose to be grateful for what is, what I have in front of me, even the air we're breathing, the good weather, the food on our table. um but I do see that a lot of people are not able to swift so easily because the power, I mean, the trauma, the past hurts, the wounding, the trauma is so strong that it just, hook them in a space that they are not able to really see through that filter of bitterness or resentment or fear. So I if I could advocate, I would really, I feel like everybody, not that there's something wrong with us, but it's just that, just give us self the opportunity to look at what has been holding us back. Because I guarantee you, and I believe you agree with me, that we all have something that happened in the past, and then they just hooked us in that mode of belief, and then we just keep running that belief, and then so we would just choose to stay small, choose to be silent, choose not to express, choose not to love because, whatever happened in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so true. And like you were saying about how it's not easy for people to even be open to the idea that there is something different available, right? And
Mm,
so that's where I like to offer the importance of starting so small,
mm,
creating the smallest shifts that you can, because it's the small hinges that swing big doors. So
mm,
what I mean by that is it's these little tiny consistent choices, changes and shifts that add up to that big monumental thing. So this is something that I've been talking about a lot lately. So it's so easy to think, okay, what is the one big thing that's going to change my life? What is this one big thing? I got to find this one big thing. It's not one big thing. It's a bunch of little things stacked on top of each other. That is your transformation, right?
mm,
And, to the same point, find what works for you, right? Find what works for you. There are so many options out there available to you. Try something and just start
mm.
somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Don't later your transformation, or don't later your happiness. One of my mentors says that. She says, don't later your success,
Mm,
right? Like, why are we like, oh, tomorrow I'll start, or next week I'll start? Why? If it's important to you, you would start right now, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's really don't later your freedom. I
Yeah.
think that's all what we want. I think majority, when we want more money, we want more time because we want to experience freedom.
Yes.
But freedom does not have to come only when we retire at 67, or probably, it's going to be delayed even further because freedom is actually right here
Yes.
within our choice.
We get to experience freedom in this very moment,
Yeah.
right? All these emotions, all these feelings are available to you like that. It's
Mm,
learning how to access them. The whole spectrum of emotion is available at any given point in time. So, all you have to do is think about something that allows you to feel free. So if you're somebody who maybe you can't even think about it for yourself, you're like, I don't even know what freedom would feel like for me because I've never felt it. Maybe that is true. So, but I'm sure that if you look outside in nature and you see a bird flying,
mm,
you might be like, wow, that bird looks so free. So feel that for a minute.
mm.
You are experiencing freedom right then and there. You can do it with love, you can do it with happiness, you can do it with joy, you can do it with gratitude, right? Just start practicing. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, I'm so glad to have you here today for this conversation. It just really so resonating on so many levels. And well, just before we finish, I would love to ask you, what do you feel are what are you most grateful right now?
Oh, you know what? Honestly, I could rhyme off a whole bunch of things and take another 20 minutes of your time. But I'm really just grateful to be here in this moment, to have this conversation with you, to share with
Mm,
everybody,
mm,
just to put this out into the world and allow this to have its ripple effect. And hopefully, along the line somewhere, this resonates with somebody and they go
mm.
ahead and they start taking that action that's going to help them achieve their transformation and change their life. Yeah.
Beautiful. Coming back to that, ripple effect, that whatever we are giving out, it's never, the energy never dies. So whatever we are giving out, it's just gonna circulate and attract more what is similar.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
thank you so much, Shanda. I really enjoyed the conversation. I believe that you're going to benefit even so many more people. And yeah, so if I'm going to leave your message and information under the description. So anyone who is interested in, getting to know Shanda better and getting to know her work, just feel free to contact her.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rayania, for this experience. And I wish all of the listeners just such a peaceful, wonderful day. All right.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Take care and enjoy your life. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Okay.